And hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand. Now, of course, I've got a question, not for you, because I think you guys already know what the answer is, but for the establishment, for the authorities, and I suppose the rest of the British public. When is enough enough? Now, the question is with regard to what we've seen over the last week happening in Epping. We're starting to see the fury happen and show display in Epping. However, over the last 4 days, there's been three eerily similar stories that have one common denominator revealed to the British public. Now, we've heard about Epping, and what the local people are doing in Epping is absolutely brilliant. However, I'm here to bring you more stories, and this is not over the space of a year. This is over the last 4 days, three separate stories, one common denominator, and one sort of crime that all have in common. Let's go through this, because when you see this and you see the common denominator on a day-to-day basis in these news articles, you have to ask yourself the question, when is enough enough? When do the establishment start taking notice? Let's get into it, guys. As always, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get involved in the live chat. I want to get involved and get your thoughts and opinions on what we're about to go through as well. So, first point. This is the first article I'm going to share with you, and it's got dates on here as well. So, first one. Here's the individual. As you can see, this one was published on the 21st of July 2025, so today. So the headline reads, Migrant 26 forced himself onto a suicidal mother and kissed her on the lips when she refused to go back to his asylum hotel with him. A migrant reportedly forced a kiss on a suicidal mother's mouth as she refused to go back with him to his asylum hotel. Zayad Alanzi, who is 26, is said to have stalked the woman before he grabbed her by the cheeks, kissed her, and shoved his tongue inside. She fought him off and then distracted him to stop the predator, potentially targeting a teenage girl nearby before police arrived. The mother said he would not take no for an answer, according to the Sun. He asked me to go up the road. I said, no, I'm not going up that way. And that's when the police turned up. I told him I wanted to be left alone on numerous occasions. The married man was staying at the Royal Hotel in Hull, claimed the woman, the married man, or this migrant in this situation, was staying at the Royal Hotel in Hull, and he apparently claimed that they consented to kiss. However, the victim insisted he was a stranger. Now, this situation, this is absolutely sickening, by the way. Alanzi, of course, is a sex attacker and was jailed for a year last week, but could serve half his sentence. As it said, officials may have him deported. So this individual here, we've seen that one there already. So that's one crime. Another sex crime. Another sexual assault. Jailed for a year, but lives in a hotel. Asylum seeker. Came across the channel. Now, let's get into the second one. Now, as I said, this is all happening in the last few days. Here's the next... sorry, that was the same one. Here's the next one. This guy, here. Timestamp. 19th of July 2025, you can see, is on the news article. Channel migrant who sexually assaulted teenage girl with special needs in broad daylight is jailed for 14 months. A Channel migrant has been handed a 14-month sentence after he sexually assaulted an extremely vulnerable teenage girl who has learning difficulties in a park in broad daylight. Aaron Hadash, 27, from Ethiopia, who was living at a taxpayer-funded Holiday Inn near Heathrow, attacked the 19-year-old in June last year after she had been sent by her mother to pick him up from the food bank. To pick up fruit from a food bank. A court heard on Friday how he pursued her to a park in Fulham, West London, where he pinned her on his lap, grabbed her breast and touched her crotch for several minutes before she escaped. She said he was laughing as she ran away. Hadish, who illegally entered the UK, there you go, keyword, illegally, around 3 years ago. Fucking 3 years ago. 3 years ago. So after crossing the channel, was caught 5 weeks later after the teenager spotted him while out shopping with her mother. Members of the public detained him until the police arrived. Prosecutor Sam Barker told Ilsworth Crown Court the victim has a number of learning difficulties, which means she's present in very childlike and has an extreme vulnerability. Hanish was sentenced to 14 months imprisonment and a 5-year restraining order after being convicted of 1 count of sexual assault and acquitted of 1 count of kidnapping in May this year. So this article just came out. I mean, I've got so many questions with regard to this. 3 years ago came in illegally, first and foremost. 3 years ago. 3 years ago came in illegally and just living amongst us, walking around, living in a hotel, sexually assaulting children, trying to kidnap a child. Just cutting about. Speechless. 3 years ago. Not been deported, just living out of a hotel and living and going about his life, causing heinous acts like that. And now going into prison, so we've been funding him as a taxpayers recently as well, and now we're going to be continuing to fund him as he spends 14 months in prison. And which is a joke, by the way. 14 months in prison is an absolute joke. That's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Sickening. Really, really is sickening. Now, if you thought we were done, we're not done yet. These articles, this one this morning that I just came across, by the way, these are all for the last few days. Asylum seeker raped 12-year-old girl above Birmingham shop where he was illegally working. Syrian national Mohammed, aged 22, told the girl it was not safe on the streets. An asylum seeker, there you go, another key word there and common denominator, raped a girl of 12 above the Birmingham shop where he was illegally working. So how much illegal acts is this guy doing? Mohammed told the victim it was not safe on the streets and gave her a vape and crisps at Villa Supermarket in Handsworth before attacking her in a bedroom. The girl was vulnerable, having left home, travelled to Birmingham on her own. She had initially pretended to be older but told Wahid Mohammed she was 12 when he first went to kiss her. She was ultimately returned to her home by an Asian family who saw the pair together at a takeaway and became concerned of her welfare. Wahid Mohammed, 22, of Lord Street, Warsaw, but originally from Syria, admitted 2 counts of sexually assaulting a girl under the age of 13 and was found guilty of 3 counts of rape by a jury. He claimed the victim consented despite the fact she was too young. Wahid Mohammed cried in the dock on Birmingham Crown Court on Thursday, July 17th, as he was sentenced to 12 years in custody. So, this guy's got 12 years in jail. Some will say fair play. I mean, I don't know how one gets 12 years and one gets, is it because of the age differences? I'm not too sure. But one gets 12 years, but the one we just spoke about there gets 14 months for arguably the same thing. But what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to make a point here is they all have the same common denominator. They have the same things in common. 2 things in common. They all are asylum seekers, have crossed over the channel, some of them illegally, from what I guess 2 of them illegally, and they have both committed, all 3 of them have committed sex crimes. When is enough enough? We're seeing what's happening in Apping 2 weeks ago, where someone was charged for sexual assault, and that's why locals are erupting in fury. Where's Birmingham's outrage? Where's the other towns and cities, Hull's outrage with these individuals? Whilst these crimes are absolutely sickening and absolutely disgusting, they're going to continue to happen because we have boatloads of people coming across every single day. We see countless footage over the last couple of days showing how these immigrants or illegal immigrants or asylum seekers, whatever you want to call them, are living in hotels. We see that they are not treated as criminals. We see them being able to roam the streets. We see them having complete freedom. We see them working jobs despite committing an illegal act. And given enough rope, they hang themselves. They literally go out there and cause havoc amongst our streets. And it doesn't take someone so smart to understand why. They come from an alien culture, a culture that's not compatible with ours, first and foremost. They've came in illegally. They've been undocumented. Nobody knows who they are. And maybe these things they can get away with back home in their countries. But the fact that they're doing it here must cause outrage. And it should cause outrage. These 3 articles have all been published. The Birmingham one was today, one of them was on the 21st of July, which was also today, and another was on the 19th of July. So they've had their court hearings, of course, and been sentenced. Obviously happened on different days, some of them last year or whatnot. But what I'm trying to say is that we're seeing this far too often, added with the Epping one as well. When do people, I'm not saying people, the people are already taking note, but when does the establishment take note? When does this actually change? And when does it get to the point where people and families are not going to allow their children to go outside? Where asylum hotels are in the near proximity? It's frightening. It really is scary. And this is not something that British people should have to live with and live in fear. British parents shouldn't have to live in fear of this happening. But the establishment shows no signs of it ending, and it can continue to carry on for as long as it happens. And this is not going to be the last time we hear about this, unfortunately. And I don't like to tempt fate, but there may be stuff that we've not already heard about. There might be stuff happening right now with the amount of people coming in illegally across the channel. That's why these protests are so important. That's why they're so important for us all to show and speak out about this. This is disgusting. It really is disgusting, and I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. Nomad donates, saying, no MSN is reporting on racist cleansing of minorities in South Africa with more race-based laws than so-called human rights. People are silent. UK is even helping the racist South African government. I'll have a little look into that for you. I'll have a little look and see what's being said in South Africa. I'll do my own research and see if I can bring you anything for it, of course. Humanitarian says, my ancestors for thousands of years have fought with kings and queens of the UK can be the UK. I can't believe these nitwits have just opened the gate like they just don't care. Snarf says, I can't say what I'd like to say. Gabe says, imagine Hitler invading UK and we all there with banners defending. Get real, people. Well, I would say something. Actually, no, I won't say that on this live stream. We can go on for years. We can go on for ages about how it's not fair. We spoke about it in the last live stream. About these migrants getting their stuff. They're getting phones, laptops, and all of these kind of things. We can go on for days. We know the evidence is there. We've seen it a lot. And British people struggling. But my point is the imminent danger. The imminent danger of allowing someone that's already committed an illegal act to just free roam the streets, just cut about the streets, like they own it, doing heinous acts and not being, well, they are, some of them, of course, being jailed and the justice system is working. But an individual that comes in 3 years ago, staying in a hotel, and now we've still got to keep him for 14 months, which could see his sentence half. And by the way, just to mention that 14-month sentencing, that's nothing on Lucy Connolly's. So, you know, it's a weird old world that we live in. It really is. It's a weird country that we live in. It really is. I mean, the sentencing, I can go on for days about how different sentences, this person got longer for this person got shorter for this. We can go for days. But the fact that we now got out, he was in the country for 3 years illegally after he crossed the boat. Why is he in the country for 3 years? Why has he even been allowed to stay in the country for 3 years? What I get from this now is if that you cross over on the channel, there is no deportation plan. You're here for good. You've made it to the promised land and you'll be looked after for the rest of time. That's the message that they send out there. 3 years, that could have been avoided. That could have been stopped. He could have been deported. He could have been put back to where he came from. And that young girl would still have her innocence and wouldn't have her life ruined by an individual such as evil and barbaric as him. That's what I'm saying. And you know, you have to hold the establishment to account because they have the power to stop this. I was having a conversation the other day with a friend, and people don't like dictators, or people who seem that they don't like dictators. We live in a democracy, right? But do you know what? Sometimes I think dictatorship is something that Britain needs, you know? I sometimes think that someone in power goes, you know what? I'm going to stop the boats. Oh, well, you can't do that. We're in the ECHR. You can't do that. France will say things. Oh, no, I'll just do it. You just need someone to do it. I'll just pull them back. What are they going to do? Oh, someone says the European Union say I can't do that. Fuck them. I'll pull them back and deal with the repercussions. What are they going to do? What's France going to do to Britain? Pull them back. Oh, you said that. I don't care. What are you going to do about it? Just sometimes you got to flex your muscles. What are you going to do about it? Simple. What are you going to do? They came from yours. I'm returning them back. That's it. Done. Dusted. So, and I've looked at El Salvador's change over the last year. And even, you're going to have these kind of things, by the way. El Salvador, for those of you that didn't know, the murder capital of the world, a year ago. You know, it was crazy. I think 1 in 100,000 murder. I can't even remember the statistics, but it was the murder capital of the world, El Salvador. And a young president or whoever took over there, young guy, 32 I think he was, he took the murder rate in that country within 1 year down to below the United States. So from being the murder capital of the world or murder capital of the Americas to lower than the United States within 1 year. What he did was went on like a relentless run of taking people that were gangs. He wanted to stop gangs. So anyone that had gang tattoos, he put them in prison. And people were crying out, oh, human rights this, human rights that. He just grabbed them all. If you've got gang tattoos, boom, you're in prison. That's it, shit bust. And you could probably see, there might have to be a few lambs sacrificed, I suppose it was his motto, right? But due to that, he now has is a safer country from being the murder capital of Americas to safer than the United States, less murders, all within 1 year by making a decision. And by the way, there's always going to be people that complain. So this guy, who's cleaned up El Salvador, completely changed it, is still got people saying, oh, what about human rights this, human rights that? Look at what he's done to the country, and there's still people moaning. There's still people moaning that he's a dictator or any of these kind of things. But look what he's done to El Salvador. It's like you can't please everyone. So that's the thing with democracy sometimes. You just can't please everybody. And sometimes it takes a leader like that to just really get something going. And I credit to him. I actually don't know his name. I've been really interested in the whole cleanup of El Salvador recently. But if El Salvador can do it and change the way that they are as a country within 1 year, Britain can. But yeah, mental. It's Nayib Bukele. Sorry for my pronunciation. Apologies. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to look at something really, really, and give you a bit of positivity for your life, look into it. I think Yes Theory did a good documentary on it. There's a few documentaries here on YouTube with regard to El Salvador. Look at it. I mean, as I said, there's always going to be people moaning, no matter what. No matter how good you do in the world, and no matter how you change a country for the better. Literally take it from the murder capital of the world to under the United States within 1 year. And there's still people out there moaning. It's amazing. Some people just don't deserve an opinion. We got another donation here. Sue Jackson says, deportation centres and ex-military bases with curfew to all migrants with no documents. Well, that's it. That's one thing straight away. You shouldn't be housing people in hotels. Shit bust. And you shouldn't be able to roam the streets. That's just an obvious thing. If you don't know someone, if someone's committed an illegal act, they don't get free roam of your country. They don't just get to just go about like everyday citizens. They're meant to be treated like criminals. And as Sue's saying that's a good point you make. You stick them in ex-military bases. And not even with curfews. They stay in the barracks They stay in the barbed wire, so they can't, and they wait for their deportation. Simple. Simple, simple. Vic the Red donates $5. Leave the EU an ally with Hungary, Poland, AFD, and other anti-invasion parties. But unfortunately, I mean, most people would want that, of course. But unfortunately, for the United Kingdom, our government don't really align with those, unfortunately. Gary, as I said, there we go, we're getting vouched here. El Salvador is now one of the safest countries in the Americas. The cleanup is very real. It's unbelievable. But that's what I'm saying about it. And again, people don't like the term dictator. They always think of, certain people like Austrian painter or, I just with Genghis Khan and Putin for that matter, or whatever, Kim Jong-un or whatever, these kind of people, which... Again, I don't. It's not always the case, and I'm not saying we should turn anything into a dictatorship. But sometimes that's what something needs. Some prime minister or leader needs to have a bit of balls and go, you know what? I'm going to put my head above the parapet. I'm just going to do stuff. We're going to stop the illegal invasion into our country. That's it. Oh, but you can't do that. Who's telling me I can't do that? It's my land. It's our land. Just pull the boats back. Give them back to France. Well, you can't do that. What are you going to do, France? What are you going to do? Just flex your muscles, The other countries get away with it. I mean, it's mental. I don't know. I suppose it's it. The UK will fall if we lose to Panathinaikos tomorrow. I know. Hopefully it's a win. I've seen Servette and Servette or Victoria Pleasant in the next round. So a good chance for the Champions League, hopefully. I don't stroll past people's comments, guys. It's very quick that they come in. I can't see. But yeah. Guys, do let me know your thoughts on the whole thing with regard to the mass amounts of crimes that we're seeing from the asylum hotels. I've just shown you over the last week or so. And then do let me know your thoughts on when the establishment will take notice, or if they will ever take notice. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button.